Hi, good afternoon. We're here with Kieron McIntyre from Digby Swift. How you doing, Kieron?
I'm good. I'm good, thank you.
Good stuff. Good to have you here. So yeah, let's kick things off. If you just like to tell us a little bit about who you are, what it is you do, and also how long you've been doing it for, please.
So like you said, my company's Digby Swift. We're a web development, mobile app development company. We specialize predominantly in the Microsoft stack, which is .NET development, Azure, the cloud. And we're based in Leeds. My team has been together for nearly 3 years now. But I've been in the industry for well over 20 years. I moved to Leeds to do this in 2000.
Brilliant. How big's the team? You say your team's been together 3 years?
Well, I made my first hire in March 2020, no, April 2020, which was just after the the COVID outbreak.
Yeah.
Which was So that was my first hire, and then I hired again a few months ago. So it's a team of 3. I'm still actively developing. I have no intention of giving that up.
Yeah, cool. So sort of reason for asking that with 3 years ago is going into the kind of biggest impact question of the pandemic. And just what was that for you in terms of your business, your sector, and affecting hiring, things like that?
Well, mine's quite a strange story, actually, because contrary to an awful lot of businesses which I've been aware of, which have struggled, certainly during lockdown, in the lead up to lockdown, I was very, very busy, which made me start thinking about hiring. And it was just the situation at the point that COVID hit. I needed to hire someone at that point. And I'm not saying it was fortuitous that the person I hired had been made redundant shortly before, but it was fairly serendipitous that happened. So, okay. I mean, that was the biggest impact, that actually my workload increased. One of the websites that I looked after was very responsible for disseminating a lot of COVID-related information to businesses, and actually that they are still doing that actively, and that was where we were getting an awful lot of our work at the time.
Sure, there's a definite kind of, with the online world and businesses that we speak to, went one way, and then obviously places that had premises and stuff like that, hospitality sector obviously went the other way. So it's always interesting hearing different sort of sides of the coin, so to speak. So were there any actions that you had to take as a business at all or leading on from the pandemic that you'd kind of had to do, and then you kept, and you thought that's a better way of working, or anything like that?
Well, it's funny you say that, because we even though the lead up to the pandemic was relatively successful for us, and actually during the pandemic was successful, we had to put in place quite a few features, quite a few ways of working that we hadn't had before, that I hadn't entertained before, maybe through cost. So in our job, it's predominantly code. We write a lot of code. So we have storage mechanisms for the code, but we didn't have any analysis mechanisms for the code. And so we implemented an awful lot of automated processes for making sure that the code that we did write for our clients was of a quality level which met our expectations. And we could put guidelines around that and limits, so that we could make sure that projects weren't deployed unless they met a certain standard. And also the actual deployment of the websites and applications that we create, we put an awful lot of automation behind that as well. And it was important, given that the team would be growing, that those were in place before the team grew. So there was quite a lot of what we'd call infrastructural changes, architectural changes to the way we worked, which has been very challenging, but very enjoyable.
You like a challenge.
That's one of your roles. I love a challenge. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you for that share. So in terms of where you are now, what does the future look like for you? Is it more hires, and what do you see as the main challenges going ahead?
Well, the future looks very good, to be honest. We're in a really, really good position. We've worked very hard over the last couple of years. We've made sure that our revenue is not coming from one specific place. We work for a range of clients, both direct and agency based. So, that's a positive for us. So things are looking good, but the challenges, I mean, for me personally, as a business owner, well, the biggest challenge is going to be managing expectations, mainly my own, and keeping visibility over everything that needs to be done.
Sure.
The biggest challenge I have at the moment is maintaining visibility over everything that is happening, all the new work that's coming in, the change requests across all the projects, because we have a fairly small number of clients, but a fairly large number of projects. And actually we have scope for, we have capacity for more, which is a wonderful thing. But in order to do that, we need to maintain that visibility over everything.
Sure.
So there's the challenge.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that share. I'm sure it resonates with a lot of other business owners as well, in terms of that sort of capacity management, you say visibility, and sort of systemization of your workload to obviously grow and increase what you do and help more people. So kind of linked to that, I guess, is the biggest learning that you've had since being a business owner. If there's one that you can share, I mean, I'll give you a couple if you want to share a couple, but there might be something that stands out as a good share on the biggest learning that you've had so far.
Well, I mean, the one that obviously jumps out to me is that I have very high levels of expectation of myself. My standards for myself are very high. When I was freelancing prior to hiring, and my expectations were of a level that if I didn't meet them, I would beat myself up, mentally and emotionally, if you like. And that's fine, as when you're an independent contractor, maintaining your own levels. But when you have a team, you can't do that. Or at least I've learned now that you can't do that. You can't put your expectations and your standards, my standards, on team members who don't have your experience. They don't have my levels of expectation, and they're 9 to 5 staff. Now, actually, when I hired them, I was very, very explicit with them that they should not be working any longer than they want to be. We run a very, very flexible house in this company, so they can start when they want, they can end where they want, as long as the work gets done. We're very easy. They can work remotely. We have hot desking, and we tend to work 3 days a week from our office space in Leeds at the platform. But the managing my levels of expectation has been a massive challenge. So hard.
Thank you for that share. Important share there. So it may reflect on what you've just said, but the sort of best advice if you were to go back in time and perhaps meet yourself at 18, or perhaps again someone young person or someone starting out in business, what's the best piece of advice you could give to help them on their journey?
Well, the advice I would give to someone that's starting out in business is not the same that I'd give it to myself as a 18-year-old.
Yeah.
The advice I'd give to myself as an 18-year-old is twofold. The first part would be to look after my body more, my knees and my back, my shoulders. Computing takes a toll, as any desk job does. So posture is a massive, it has a massive impact on a day-to-day basis. And I started karate about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's made the world of difference to my work, actually. So my advice would be look after your body. To someone starting out in business, without wanting to sound negative, it would be know your weaknesses. I know I hear a lot of people saying, play to your strengths, but I think to know your weaknesses in a time where there's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure on people, whether that's the what's it called, the imposter syndrome type of situation. I struggle with the same type of thing. Knowing your weaknesses helps you gauge how far you need to push yourself, and being realistic about how far you can push yourself saves you from burnout. It saves relationships. So just being aware of the signs of your weaknesses and what your weaknesses are. And sleep. Sleep is not a weakness. I know people who say that they can survive X number of days without sleep or whatever, and it's whether it's a myth or not, it's not a weakness. So it's not a one-upmanship. So that would be my advice.
Good shares, thank you. Yeah, very good advice. Sort of understanding who you are in order to not sort of beat yourself up too much if you don't get certain tasks done, because ultimately if it's a weakness, and that's just, you got to be honest with yourself and say that's not my forte, rather than say I should be better than that, or what have you. So a good share on that. Good advice, thank you. So what inspires you to do what you do? It might be people you work with, building a team, any friends, family, or anything you read or listen to.
Someone actually asked me this the other day, and it's a really difficult one, because I've met people who are inspirational, certainly ex-bosses, team leads of mine, who have been wonderful programmers, wonderful communicators. But it's an odd one. I don't generally get inspired by people. What I get inspired by is learning. I've always been driven by a progression, basically, being able to learn new things. And it's not necessarily things that I can apply to work, but even if it's just really simple things on a daily basis that I didn't know before. But yeah, learning keeps me motivated. Learning keeps me inspired. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why I guess we've been as successful as we are, because we progress. We don't sit on our laurels, and if that's the right phrase, I think.
Yeah, you have a willingness to learn, and for the benefit of obviously the people that you're working for and with. Great stuff. I like that share, thank you. And then lastly, is there any latest news around the business that you'd like to share? If there's a website potentially to direct people to, or any news that you may wish to let us know about?
Well, I mean, the website www.digbyswift.com is woefully out of date, as most development teams' websites are. They never reflect what the active work are. But we have capacity. We are growing. We're always looking for direct clients to form, close relationships with. I mean, I guess our unique selling point is that we work directly with our clients. We occasionally work on site with them. So unlike agencies who have that project management middle layer, we like to work, and we have capacity, and I am looking to hire a new VA, virtual assistant, or a PA. I'm sort of tossing up between the two, but if anybody is interested, I mean, that would be wonderful. Any
put it out there.
Recommendations?
Brilliant. Okay, that's fantastic. That's good news that you're hearing about you growing, and I wish you all the best for the future. Kieron, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.